everybody, it's Caleb Crewy here with Caleb Crewy Reports and Predicts. Today we're going to go over Super Tuesday. I'll call it Super Tuesday Part 1. We'll go over half the Super Tuesday states with my predictions. And then tomorrow, on Super Tuesday, I will post my second video, Part 2, with the rest of the states. Today, we're just going to be going over the Southern Super Tuesday states. And so those are Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. So, just to remind everybody, so far on every contest, we've got the winner right. And in South Carolina, we predicted the top 3 correctly. So, but these Super Tuesday states are going to be a lot harder to predict. Some of these we have a lot of polling, some we don't. And with the big news yesterday that Pete Buttigieg dropped out, it's going to make these even harder to predict because we don't really know where all of Pete Buttigieg's support is going to go, and this is the first test of that. So since South Carolina, both Pete Buttigieg and Tom Steyer uh, have dropped out. Tom Steyer, we're not exactly sure where his vote will go either, but also Tom Steyer did not have, he was polling at 2 or 3% in some of these states, while Pete Buttigieg was anywhere between 8 to 15% in some of these states. So that's going to make a much bigger impact on the race. We're going to start with Virginia, which is actually my home state. Um, and 538 has Joe Biden at a 50% chance of winning it, with Bernie in second with a 40% chance. If we go over this polling, Biden is at 22% in the latest poll, which was on Friday. Sanders at 17, Bloomberg at 13. Um, and then on February 26th, there's a poll that showed Sanders up at 28, Biden at 19, Warren at 17, Bloomberg at 17, Buttigieg at 12. With Buttigieg dropping out and it being a much closer race, I think that what's going to end up happening is I do think Joe Biden will win Virginia because that big win in South Carolina, I think, will consolidate the Bernie Sanders anti-Bernie Sanders vote with Joe Biden. I think that Bloomberg will lose some points, and I think even Buttigieg's vote in Virginia probably goes to Joe Biden because it's an anti-Bernie vote, and it's a very suburban area. And former Governor Terry McAuliffe and Senator Tim Kaine have endorsed Joe Biden, so I think Joe Biden will end up winning Virginia. And I think Bernie will come in second in Virginia. And then I think Mike Bloomberg will come in third. He has a lot of ties to Virginia. He spent millions and millions of dollars in the several past, not just gubernatorial elections, but also in some state elections. So next we're going to go to North Carolina. And let me pull it up here. And so North Carolina is North Carolina and Virginia are pretty big states for delegates. Um, and right now, North Carolina, Biden has a 78% chance of winning, with Sanders with a 17% chance of winning, and Bloomberg has a 4% chance. But if we go to some of the recent polling, and the polling in North Carolina has trended a little bit more towards Bernie in the past couple days, to be in second. Mike Bloomberg was doing really well at one point in North Carolina, but that's kind of went away. We have 3 polls from yesterday. There's the East Carolina University poll that shows Biden 29, Sanders 24, Bloomberg 14, Warren 11, the Klobuchar 5, Buttigieg 4, Steyer 3. The Marist poll shows Bernie at 26, Biden at 24, Bloomberg at 15, Warren at 11. Um, and then the mayor's poll shows Bernie at 27, Biden at 22, Bloomberg at 15. I think what's going to happen, and if you look at all these polls, that they were just released yesterday, but they were all taken before the South Carolina primary, and they all have the race rather close. I'd say even within 5 points, that's usually pretty close. And I think in North Carolina, again, that Buttigieg vote and Joe Biden's enormous victory in South Carolina is going to translate to him winning North Carolina with Bernie in second and Mike Bloomberg in third, but it's still going to be, I think, a really close race. Now we're going to go over to Tennessee. And Tennessee is a state that actually has not been polled a lot, and you'll see that in a second. So we're not exactly sure where Tennessee is going to end up. Right now, Joe Biden has a 63% chance of winning it, according to 538, with Bernie at a 25% chance, and Mike Bloomberg with a 11% chance of winning. If we go over here, they haven't been polled since last year, July of 2019. But I do think that Joe Biden will win Tennessee. It's kind of a Joe Biden type state, with African American and rural voters. Um, but based on no polling, because we don't have that, I'm going to predict that Mike Bloomberg comes in second because he's been spending a lot of money there, like he has most places. But he's been visiting Tennessee a lot. Just on Friday, he made 3 different stops in Tennessee, in the West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and then he ended up in the Tri Cities in East Tennessee. So I think that Mike Bloomberg will end up being in second, but we don't have a lot of polling, so it makes a little. This is probably our hardest race to call so far, but that's my top 3 in Tennessee. Now, if we move over to the great state of Alabama, uh, this is another state that we don't have much polling on at all, um, but um, Biden has a 79% chance of winning, Sanders a 10% chance, and Bloomberg also a 10% chance. I think in Alabama, see, we don't have any polling since last year on it, but Biden was up a lot then. I think Biden will again win Alabama pretty comfortably. And I also do think that Mike Bloomberg will come in second and Bernie Sanders in third. Bernie has underperformed in some of these southern states back in 2016. We saw he didn't perform well in South Carolina. So I do think that in those particular states that Mike Bloomberg's money will probably help him a lot and hurt Bernie. Now we come over to Arkansas. That's going to be the next one we come to. Again, it's one of these states that doesn't have a ton of polling out of Arkansas. We do, but Biden has a 41% chance of winning it. Sanders a 31, and Mike Bloomberg a 28% chance. And if we go over to the polling, the last poll was from February 11th that had Bloomberg leading, Biden in second, Sanders in third, and Buttigieg at 16. So that Buttigieg vote is going to be really important how that gets distributed. I do think in Arkansas that Joe Biden will end up eking it out again because just that southern momentum from South Carolina. And I think that Bloomberg will probably come in second. I think that that split of the Buttigieg vote may go evenly between those there and some to Warren. Warren does get some of the Buttigieg vote. Um, and then I would say Bernie comes in third in Arkansas as well. And then if we go over to Oklahoma is where we're going to go cover next. And again, we don't have a ton of polling out of Oklahoma, other than Virginia and North Carolina. Then the next state after Oklahoma we'll go over is Texas. There's not been a ton of polling in these states. There's been a little bit, but Biden has a 46% chance of winning Oklahoma. Bloomberg at 28%, and Bernie at 24%. And if we go over to the most recent poll, uh, it shows Biden at 21, Bloomberg at 20, Sanders at 13, and Buttigieg at 10. And now that was February 24, so that's a more recent poll, and that even accounts Bloomberg's disastrous debate performance. So I think that Biden will end up eking out Oklahoma, uh, but only by a point or two over Bloomberg, and I think Sanders will come in third in Oklahoma. That one is probably has a little bit better. We've been having some polling in Oklahoma, and Bloomberg and Biden have been battling it out. Um, but I do think that Biden will eke it out. And then we'll go over to the big prize of the southern states, and that is going to be Texas. Now, Texas is a little different. According to 538, Joe Biden has a 56% chance, and Bernie has a 42% chance of winning it, and Bloomberg's at a 2% chance. And then if we go over to the polling here, it shows that uh, Bloomberg, we have one today that has Bernie up by 5. It has yesterday we have one Bernie up by 5, one Bernie up by 15, Bernie up by 17. But what's important about the ones, if you look at the ones where he's up by a lot, those are pre South Carolina. But the after South Carolina, he's up by 4 or 5. And I think with Buttigieg out, it's going to be really close. But I think Bernie will end up winning Texas by 1 or 2 points, with Joe Biden second and uh, Michael Bloomberg in third. But Texas is going to be really close because those after South Carolina polls see a dramatic shift. You see Maris has at 15 and 17, and that's from February 23rd to the 27th. But then YouGov 27, 29, now it's only 4. And same at Emerson, only up 5. So it's going to be really close. But so that is kind of what we are predicting. Again, my predictions are Biden first in Virginia, Bernie second, Bloomberg third. And then if you go over to North Carolina, it's Biden winning North Carolina, Bernie in second, Bloomberg in third. Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, and Oklahoma are all Biden winning, Bloomberg in second, and Bernie in third. And Texas, I think Bernie will win, Biden in second, Bloomberg in third. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll have part 2 up tomorrow. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.